It's pretty crazy to think that there are places out there with mysteries just waiting to be explored, but these hidden treasures exist all around us. It's interesting to think about all the people who've never managed to spot these spots near their homes. In today's video, we'll tell you the story of a woman who had her life forever changed by a dark storm drain. We've also got a harrowing tale of two men who see mysterious pipes and go on a surprising adventure they will never forget. It was a warm Saturday night in June of 2018 when 30-year-old Rebecca Bunting and her boyfriend decided to head outside to take some photographs in an underground storm drain near Roosevelt Boulevard in Philadelphia. What would happen in that tunnel changed their lives forever. Exploring off-limits and abandoned places wasn't an unusual pastime for Becca and a boyfriend. Bunting's hobby was urban exploring, also known as urbex, which is slang for urban exploration. In fact, Becca, as her friends called her, had become somewhat of a celebrity in the urbex world online. She used her Instagram account to share photos of all the places she explored. Everything from abandoned malls to creepy hospitals, tunnels, and other little-known places off the beaten path. After using a professional camera to shoot her explorations for 2.5 years, Becca's Instagram account had grown to 10,000 followers. Becca thrived on sharing her adventures with the world. She was always trying to get really cool photos. She's really talented. She could bring out beauty in any landscape, explained her friend Kristen DeDomenico. Many of the places Becca and her friends explored were labeled no trespassing due to dangerous conditions. A lot of abandoned buildings have unstable structures or other unknown hazards. The drainage tunnel Becca and a boyfriend entered on that Saturday night in June was no different. It wasn't a place the public was supposed to go, but Becca was fearless, driven by an innate sense of curiosity. Becca chose to live her life at top speed, soaking up every opportunity to explore and seek out the beauty in unlikely places. Other urban explorers say they do it to pay homage to places that time was left behind or to connect to the past. We don't doubt there is a certain indescribable feeling to standing in the middle of an abandoned place and imagining what it was like years ago when it was bustling with people and lights. Rebecca's main goal in the drainage tunnel that night was to have her boyfriend take some funky portraits of her in this underground place that many people pass by each day without ever seeing. As the two descended into the drainage tunnel, everything seemed fine. In fact, Becca was someone friends said they could totally trust to lead them when exploring potentially hazardous places. She was bold and confident, and she carefully calculated risks. Becca and a boyfriend made their way along the drainage tunnel and found the perfect spot to shoot photos. They were having a great night exploring this easy-to-access tunnel right in the middle of the city. That's when things went terribly wrong with absolutely no warning at all. Unbeknownst to the couple, the weather conditions above had rapidly changed. There was a flash flood taking place, and Rebecca had no idea what was coming. While the couple took their photos, a wall of water was rushing down the drainage tunnel towards them. Suddenly, the water rushed towards Becca. Her boyfriend saw it and mashed to get out of the way. It happened so quickly, neither Becca nor her boyfriend had time to think or react. Before he knew it, Becca's boyfriend found himself alone in a wet tunnel. He had some minor injuries, but he was alive and alert. He was panicked as he screamed for Becca. She was gone. Her boyfriend climbed out of the warlock tunnel and called 911 for help. Rescue teams immediately rushed to the scene. Following along the route of the tunnel, they searched for Rebecca. They couldn't find her anywhere. The search continued until the following morning when Rebecca was found near the Frankfurt Avenue Bridge in Holmesburg. Someone had abandoned furniture in the Pennypack Creek. Becca's body was caught in the furniture. She had drowned in the rushing water. The urban explorer world was heartbroken at the announcement. No one could have predicted that a flash flood would sweep away Rebecca that night. We were always going to have Rebecca's photos and the photos we took ever, Rebecca's friend Weiss said. Becca is going to live forever because of this. Her friends remembered her elected personality and resisted for life. Ironically, 4 days before her death, Becca posted a photo of a beautiful sunset peeking through large amber archways. "If there is life after death," she wrote, "I want to come back as a sunset. Isn't much else more beautiful than that?" We don't know about you, but Rebecca Bunting's story definitely brought a tear to our eyes. You can check out all our photos on our Instagram page. Let us know what you think about our artwork in the comments. And similar to Rebecca's story, our next pair of friends also found themselves in a wet, murky tunnel underground after following some mysterious above-ground pipes. Luckily for these two friends, their tunnel adventure did not end in death, but it was definitely an experience that left them shook to the core. You wouldn't believe where the pipes led them.
Also, if you've not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now, back to the story.
Our next story takes place in Germany, in a place formerly dominated by Nazis and the Soviet Union. Dale Hufford had a longtime friend named Mike Peters who lived in Lübben, Germany. On Christmas vacation, Dale decided to go visit Mike at his German home. Dale was in Baltimore, so this was no short trip. Mike had told Dale about a mysterious set of pipes protruding from the ground in the woods near his home and Lübben. These pipes totally enraptured Dale. He decided he absolutely had to know more about them. Dale considered himself an experienced urban explorer, and he also considered these pipes something that could not go unchecked. Upon arriving in Germany, Dale was filled to the brim with excitement and a little fearful. Mike had grown up in the village, but he told Dale that he had never dared explore the area around the pipes by himself. The area was marked no trespassing with signs stating verboten in Germany. The local villagers had been warned over the years to never go in the area for fear of explosives left behind from the war and other life-threatening dangers. Your two friends were completely unaware of what they would be walking into. They eagerly packed up backpacks of supplies to take on their hike to the location of the pipes, taking care to be sure they were completely prepared to embark on a full exploration of the mysterious site. What they found was not expected. Mike told Dale they needed to leave early the following morning to hike out to the pipes. That way, they'd have plenty of daylight to explore who would want to go exploring a possibly dangerous site in the dark of night, way out in the woods. We sure wouldn't. But Dale was so anxious to get started. He insisted they leave right then. The hike took a little while. The way wasn't marked, but Mike was able to lead Dale in the right direction. The forest was silent and the day had stretched into the late afternoon by the time the guys arrived. Dale gave an involuntary shudder when he saw the old metal pipes protruding from the ground. They looked like old metal periscopes, and they were so out of place in the otherwise peaceful wooded setting. Why were these pipes here? What purpose had they served? Nothing else was around for some distance in either direction. Quickly, Dale began to scope out the area with Mike following behind him. About 100 meters from the pipes, the guy spotted a concrete entryway. It was sunken into the ground at an angle, hidden by dead leaves and a grassy mound. There was a wooden doorway covering the opening. Thrilled at their discovery, the guys pulled out their crowbar and pried the wooden piece off. Mike screamed in shock. A huge cloud of black flies buzzed upwards and into his face. Once the flies cleared and Mike recovered from his shock, they shone their flashlights into the doorway. There were stairs leading down into blackness. They saw an iron gate guarding the entrance. Boldly, placing another sign forbidding trespassers from entering, the guy swung open the iron gate. Someone before them had already broken the old lock. As they walked down the stairs, they found themselves descending into total darkness. Dale fumbled for his flashlight and turned it on. His light revealed an endless hallway. The hallway smelled terrible. The air was stale and incredibly foul. Dale and Mike continued walking in complete silence. Dale could hear his heart pounding in his chest and his footsteps echoing down the empty hallway into nothingness. They came to a junction, but fears of getting lost kept them from making any turns. They decided to continue in a straight path, even though they had no idea what may be at the end of this long hallway. They were startled by random objects in the darkness, but it turned out to be a plastic bag from a local grocery store. Someone else has been there? Suddenly, the hallway made a sharp turn. The sound of the breathing echoed off the walls, creating a terrifying noise that almost sounded like hissing. Dale thought they must be miles underground at this point. Claustrophobia began to set in. To make matters worse, the guys realized their cell phones no longer had signal. They passed walls that looked as if the concrete had been smashed in with a hammer. Dale's mind flicked through every horror movie he'd ever watched, and he began to pray silently for a dead end so that they could end this terrible journey and run back to the surface. Then they came upon a door off to one side of the hallway. The doorway was open. As they stepped through, the smell coming from inside was overpowering. The air was filled with the scent of sewage and rotten eggs. Then, the unthinkable happened. Mike slipped in the disgusting water and fell, sending water splashing up on the walls around them. He screamed as his flashlight fell into the mucky liquid. As his light tumbled to the ground, both Dale and Mike saw the shadow of what appeared to be a person crouching along the opposite wall. Overcome with terror, Dale swung his flashlight into the same area, trying to see whether cast a horrifying shadow, while Mike scrambled to find his flashlight in the nasty water. Was someone else in that tunnel with them? The guys huddled together as the dark water sloshed around him, releasing clouds of gas. Dale began to panic as he saw the walls of the room were made of lead. They should have brought respirators. The room didn't have enough oxygen. Mike and Dale were beginning to choke. In a blind panic now, the men turned and ran back the way they had come. They thought they were lost as they were splashing along the dark corridor. Dale caught a glimpse of something shining in a side room. Running ahead, he waded into needy water and grew blindly for the object. He scooped it up and stuck it in his pocket. Then, he continued in his desperate quest to get out of that tunnel with Mike not far behind him. Eventually, the guys made it to the surface. Bursting into the fresh air, they collapsed on the ground. Dale lay there for a second before he remembered the object in his pocket. He pulled it out to examine. He had picked up a bar of pure gold. Later, Mike and Dale learned they had found the subterranean depths of Lager Coral, built in 1939 during World War II. It was used as a naval intelligence school. Soon after that, the German Naval High Command moved in. They took over and began using the space as their U-boat headquarters. What would you do if you found something as precious as a bar of gold in a terrifying tunnel? Dale said he would go back in there to search for more treasure, but Mike said he would absolutely not return to the tunnel for all the treasure in the world. As for the gold, they reluctantly agreed they needed to turn it into local police.